सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय, महायोगी स्वामी उमानंद सरस्वती की जय. Friends, those who have done their PhDs will realize that knowledge needs to be presented in 3 steps. A thesis or a document needs to be having 3 steps. First, what is said about the subject you are dealing with, what is said in Shastra, that is in old scriptures. Second step is what is told to you by your master, immediate master. And third is the step where you tell what you want to contribute newly to it. If there is a newness to your subject, if there is some new contribution to your thought process, then alone you can procure a PhD. So whatever the Shastra says, that is the old scriptures say. Second, what your master has told you. And third, if you have discovered something new, given a different dimension, then it is considered as a thesis. So all these Vedic rishis we are going to talk about, they are philosophers, or they are PhD thesis of Vedic times. Because you will see that they repeat what the Shastra says. And therefore you feel there is a lot of repetition. Yes, there is a repetition because they include what the Shastra says. Secondly, they almost refer to the one prior to their guru or their father, because most of these ascetics have got a lineage. And then third, it is what their contribution is. So therefore, sometimes even if you feel that there is a repetition, we should be able to catch what is the actual individual contribution of each rishi. In Ved, the sages were called rishis. So today we are going to start with the first rishi, because I have already tried to analyze 6 rishis. As usual, somewhere the light goes. For me, I consider it as a signal of my Guru coming in to bless me. So it goes and comes back again. So thank you. So we'll start here with the first, that's my Guru's picture above there, Mahayogi Umanand Saraswati. So we are going to start about, and we will be presenting Ved through the contents of each rishi. The first rishi of RIGVED is Madhuchand. So we are going to talk now what Madhuchand had to say. So let us see. I'm going to read because I've already written it, but I would like, in case if any commentary is needed, I will introduce. Sage Madhuchand was son of Vishwamitra. We know the figure Vishwamitra, more familiar to us than Madhuchand is, but we have to know that he is son of Vishwamitra. So immediately you will understand that there is a father figure there who has already influenced him with the Vedic culture. So Sage Madhuchand, son of Vishwamitra, he had 2 sons himself. One was Jeta and second was Aghamarsan. These names are very different as compared to today's times. But Jeta has individually contributed about 18 to 19, or I think less than that, 9 to 10 RICHAS. But we have not dealt with that. We are going to start with Madhuchand first. So in RIGVED we find RICHAS contributed by many sages. Amongst them were Madhuchanda, his son Jeta, and Madhuchand's father Vishwamitra. along with others, of course. Madhuchanda has contributed 102 RICHAS out of 10,000 RICHAS. We have a long journey to go, but stick to me, stick to this subject, so that one day let's all be Vedic Rishis. Vedic Rishis. So they are at the very beginning of RIGVED. Before we begin to understand what these sages have to say, we must realize that God chose these people to interact with them for two reasons. Basically, they knew the art of contemplating and meditating. And secondly, they were interested in welfare of mankind, which was the prime purpose of even gods. Even gods, the prime purpose of even gods was welfare of mankind. And those then who wanted welfare for mankind, who contemplated on ways to find out ways, with these rishis, they were called rishis, they lived a more ascetic kind of a life, which was a life of contemplation, which was a life of meditation, with more selfless attitude. These were the people gods interacted with. Gods have not interacted with common man. Gods have interacted with the sages, with the saints. Now, when we normally we see the politicians when they meet, like Modi meeting Obama, we won't be meeting Obama. So there will be a politician meeting about it, because both are interested in taking care of nations. Similarly, those who are willing to take care of mankind, welfare of mankind, they were the ones who were chosen to be interacted with gods. The interaction was between sages and gods, and common man was its beneficiary. Vedas are creations of contemplative, selfless minds. Now let us see how Vedas also emerged. They are hymns of praise. Vedic gods are described as truthful, selfless, powerful, and friendly towards mankind. And sages were described as men who lived by rules made by gods. Yes, there were certain rules by which if you live, then you can attain. First rule is not to live to serve mankind or to serve his cause. Second is follow the instructions of the nature. Wake up when it is sunrise and rest when it is dark. Something like that. So sages were described as men who lived by rules made by gods, who wished to serve mankind, and they were truthful and studious and contemplative. They were truthful. It is very important that we are good and truthful if we need to be chosen by gods to help them to manifest their cause on earth. If we need to be chosen, we've got to be true, we've got to be pure at heart, we've got to be selfless and meditative. So these are a few qualities which can make you a rishi. A rishi is an intermediate between God and common man. So if you have to rise to that level, there are even clues given of how to become gods. Yes, if you have to be gods, you have got to absolutely stick to a continuity of service, you have to become a reliable source of mankind's comfort. You have to be a reliable source. Like the sun is, you rely on it. Every day it's going to rise. Like the air is, you rely on it that it's going to enter your nostrils and you can breathe. So this reliability which is there, that has to be promised by us to people, and then alone there are chances that you could touch the heights of divinity or godliness. This was the main reason that gods and sages could interact. If at all Vedas speak of many gods, yes, there are many gods mentioned, But all these gods were not there for common man. They were special forces who manifested because the rishis they had a very selfless attitude. They were wanting to save mankind in many ways, and therefore, every time they desired for a favor, a god manifested for them in a different form which could supply the needs of the rishis and thus the needs of the mankind. Like how you have the cow gives the milk for the calf, but man is a beneficiary. Similarly, gods interacted with rishis, saints, because they were interested in welfare of mankind, overall welfare of mankind. So if you want to be successful, if you want to get the attention of the gods, you've got to learn to live for somebody and learn to live for someone, and out of concern for someone, be ready to serve. Only then God is going to help you to do your job on earth. It's a very beautiful document. And I said they are like PhDs, thesis. Madhuchand has contributed to this thought process. There are others we are coming up to. The second sage is Medhatiti. The third is Devrat. And the fourth is Hiranyastupa. And fifth is Kanva. So let's see, we will see what they have to say. But let us go and secure more comfortable living upon earth for mankind. So the rishis could ask favors to various gods. So the various gods, we have not seen Indra and Chandra as gods. So we are common man, because there is a feeling why we have so many gods. They have not come down for us. They are there. Like entire one presidential chair has got a staff. How big a staff is? Similarly, one supreme strength, God, which is going to run the world, has to have a staff. But that staff, each individual is not going to come and meet you. It will meet some special people. And those special people were rishis of Vedic times. So we are getting documents, we are getting information of a third world which we have not seen. You call it heaven or you call it the Lord's abode. So we don't have any idea about it. So these are the only ways we can understand what is available there. And knowledge does not get old. You can still tap those forces if you really have to have that element of faith in you. Anyway, Madhuchanda initiated his writings by noting down the needs of mankind. What were the needs of man then? Man needed first welfare of mankind. For this he needed light, energy, food, wealth, knowledge, and the main thing he needed was a guardian. We all need a guardian figure in our lives. Somehow makes you feel a father figure gives you, a father figure makes you feel sorry about that, friends. A father figure makes you feel confident. You can turn to that figure in hour of distress. So Rishi Munis also needed a father figure. Almost every scripture which we read, even in Amritanubhav, we realize that book starts with accepting Shiva Shakti as parents of the world. So something like that, we need a parental figure. Each one of us needs a parental figure. Either you act as a parent to gain the strength, and the more you support somebody, the stronger you become. And the more you take the strength from somebody, again you stronger you become. So this is exactly what happened between sages and gods. So gods kept on offering strength to man, therefore they became stronger. And man kept on receiving, and therefore he also became stronger. Not only he became stronger, he was so enamored by the types of help that came to mankind, that they were full of awe and praise for God. And these praises have emerged as RICHAS. The more they praised, the more gods were able to help them. And this became a sort of a bonding figure, a bonding reason between the two, between rishis, sages, and gods. And man started benefiting from it. So it became a very beautiful sort of a relationship with gods. Sage Madhuchanda noticed Agni. Was Agni merely a fire for Madhuchanda? No. His evolved intellect made him realize that Agni was Agni Dev. It's a god, a powerful divine entity needed by mankind. Madhuchanda saw him as truthful, honest, powerful, and Swambhu. Swambhu is one who is seen in his own light and could lead mankind to a wealthy, comfortable life. Madhuchand chose him as a guardian too, for Agni came forth as a friend of mankind, mortal. Remember, they are interacting with the sages. They are not interacting with you and me. We are only going to take the words of sages because we have realized that they are living a different type of a life, a very contemplative life, a life of meditation, and therefore probably developed the art of intercommunicating through minds with these gods. For Madhuchanda, the question was not what is Agni, it was who is Agni. So therefore, because of his approach, made Agni manifest as Agni Dev. Yes, man realized that gods manifested if men believed in them. So there was something which happened. It is the faith in certain types of powers that when it was personified in the minds of man, the personification of the gods probably took place. So let us not worry about who took the initiative, but it was definite that gods wanted welfare of mankind, and the Rishi Munis also were wanting the same, and therefore there was an interaction between the two. Madhuchand soon realized that Agni Dev had a team. Yes, the Vayu, that is air, and Varun, that is rain, water. And between earth and sky, this was our abode, human abode. So between earth and sky, all these three gods emerged as gods for man. All three entities emerged as gods for man, because not only were they powerful, but were well-wishers of mankind. Now it is not enough that you have power. You have to be on the side of mankind. Only then mortal can look upon you as God. Man's needs were growing, and gods too were sufficing these needs, fulfilling the needs. Soon sages and gods bonded. At times gods were so generous that sages began to sing them their praise, and minds of sages now began to compose hymns in praise of gods. See how the mind started soaring. They became more poetic. They became more capable with words, with expressions, because the contribution of the sides of the God's side was humongous. As I said, see how air reaches right up to your nose. It enters your body to any corner which may not be clean also, and yet is able to see that you survive. Water quenches your thirst. The rains come right up to your doorstep. The food cracks open the earth and emerges out for man to reach out to it. The light reaches your eyes. The words reaches your ears. So all this, they are all there to help mankind. Now we have got to understand why these Rishi Munis were able to manifest them in form of gods, because they were able to appreciate and look upon them as forces divine. And luckily, because of the approach, these gods decided to manifest. Maybe the same thing. It's like matter is convertible. So matter is convertible to spirit and spirit to matter. Something like that must have happened, and gods must have liked the concept that they are being appreciated, thanked by an evolved intellect. A common man probably would not have been able to do this, but an evolved intellect realized that something good is happening and he decided to express it, and gods might have liked the idea about it. So, somewhere gods came and as friends of the mortal world, and sages learned to receive them with praise, with offerings of food and somras and their loyalties. Till man's needs were limited to earthly wants, the five gods of elements could suffice their needs. But contemplative minds of sages started noticing the divine manifestations, such as the luminous sun, the moon, the stars, and their intellect, now wanted to know more about these luminous objects. Man extended his treasure hunt, and sages such as Madhuchand now had to meet gods other than Agni, Vayu, and Varun. They met Indra. We have not met, a common man has not met Indra. The contemplative men, such as Madhuchand, now met Indra. He was a god of the planets, and along with Indra came Sun, Mitra, Usha, Som, and many more, such as Marutgan, Ashwini Kumars, Rudra, and so on. Sages had learnt the art of worshipping gods, and gods realized that worship motivated them to help man. As I told you, the more you take help, you become stronger, as well as the one who offers you strength, offers you protection, or your guardian, he becomes stronger. He becomes stronger. It's something like how a mother stands by the child. She develops a strength when she has to protect her child. The husband develops a strength when he needs to protect his wife. And the country, the warriors become strong when they need to protect the country. So strength comes while giving strength also. As well as vice versa, the child feels stronger when he relies upon the mother. The wife feels stronger when she relies upon her husband. Country feels strong when she can rely on the warriors. So strength is a very beautiful thing. It grows whether you give or you take, strength grows. So similarly, the powers of the gods started growing. Sages had learned the art of worshipping of gods, and gods realized that worship motivated them to help man. World was in safe hands, gods and sages, and on way to progress, man worshipped Agni for energy, wealth, and safety, and especially a guardian figure. He looked upon, Madhuchand looked upon the sun for competence. I would rather say man at that time looked upon the sun for competence. He worshipped Agni for energy, wealth, and safety. He worshipped Varun to shatter enemy. He turned to Indra for wealth and strength to fight, and so on. This is the first saint I have talked about. I am going to talk about second saint right tomorrow. So study with me. These are PhD theses of great rishis of Vedic times. So let me know, have your comments, and remember, we have to continue to study because there are more than 400 rishis who have contributed to Vedic literature. They are their documents. They are their documents. They are their documents. These are PhD theses. Whatever little the RICHAS are, they are actually nothing but PhD thesis of these great saints. So let's just try and understand them. We may get something very beautiful from it, and you never know, it might have a lot of secrets yet unrevealed to mankind. This is Swami Radhikananda from Pune. Thank you.